It's about 5:30 in the morning on Tuesday, July 2nd. I am heading up to South Lake Tahoe. Gonna ride a loop around the lake and take a bunch of pictures. It's gonna be really hot down here, over 100 degrees, but up there at elevation, below 80s. So great day to go up there and avoid the heat down here. I've ridden my bike up to Lake Tahoe in the past. I've never ridden around the lake, so I'm looking forward to this. It's supposed to be a beautiful course, and I'm looking forward to a nice day on the bike in some somewhat cooler weather. All right, 7:30 in the morning, and just starting out on the ride around Lake Tahoe. I've got about 72 miles to go and 72 pictures to take with my Pentax 17. So comes out to about a picture every mile. Has to see how that goes. That's a lot of pictures to take in one day. It's nice and cool up here. Probably haven't looked at the temperature, but it's got to be in the 50s. So a lot cooler than it's going to be at home today. And I think it'll be a great day on the bike. Well, there's the first view of the lake. Very nice day so far. Computer says it's 56 degrees right now, so nice and cool. But I can tell it's going to get warm. The sun, you can really feel the sun. But on to the road.
Well, back here in the bike room, the ride was a couple of days, and I'm just now putting together the video. Talk a little bit about the ride, and then a few more thoughts about the camera. So the ride I thought was great. It was about 73 miles in total when everything was all said and done. I was following a predetermined route that Randonneurs USA put on their website. They have predetermined routes like this that are called permanents, and they can be varying distances. This was one of the shorter ones, and they go longer. And you do the ride and you follow their route, and if you finish it within the maximum time that they allow you, then you get credit for it. If I had to do it myself, or if I was going to do it over again, I would probably ride a slightly different variation. As you saw in the videos and the photos, the route, especially on the west side of the lake, as I was going kind of north in a clockwise direction, put me on bike trails a lot and kind of off of the main highway, which was good, but bike paths have their own problems. A lot of twists and turns, a lot of intersections with roadways where the bike lane was crossing the roadway. And then of course you're dealing with pedestrians and runners and other cyclists and children on bikes. If I had to do over again, I would probably stay on the road a little bit more. It would be faster. And when I did the ride on a midweek, it was a Tuesday, there wasn't that much traffic, and I really didn't have any trouble with any of the cars. I did have a couple of close calls on the bike path with other bikes. So anyway, as far as the camera goes, if you saw the photos, and I think they're a fairly good representation of what I was getting from the camera. As you saw at the beginning of the video, I shot Proimage 100. It's a good film. It's a nice kind of consumer grade film, a little bit overlooked. You can find some videos out there on the web about it. Produces nice colors, and given that I was shooting half frame, I thought the 100 speed film and the finer grain would give a little bit better performance when you're looking at the half frame negatives, and I think it did a pretty good job. In my earlier videos about the camera, I was talking about, for instance, the dials on the top and how I really hadn't had any trouble with those. This time around I did. I was keeping the camera in a little feed bag thing that fits on the handlebars, and a combination of a couple things, putting it in and out of the bag, and then I was wearing gloves. I always wear full finger gloves because I just like them. When I was either putting it in or out of that bag or advancing the film, and then the fabric on the glove sort of catching on the little mode dial here, I found that I really had to check before I took a picture to make sure I was in the correct mode, because it did tend to get jogged a little bit. So one thing I think they could do in a future version of the camera is to have more definite clicks. Just make that mode dial a little bit easier to turn. Other than that, I found the camera fairly easy to use. I tried putting it in the auto mode. So there's a mode called auto, and when you put it in auto mode, it overrides whatever distance you've selected on the lens and sets it to the infinity, or the little mountain setting. And then the camera is also just in full auto mode. It'll flash if it needs to, it'll pick a shutter speed and aperture and so on. The difference between that and putting it in just the P mode for the daytime setting is in the P mode on daytime, you can set your distance. Now most of the time, obviously I was taking pictures of the landscape around me, so I was always going to be in the infinity mode, the little mountain symbol on the dial. So my thought was, let me just leave it in auto mode, and then it's always going to pick the mountain setting. But for some reason it just seemed to me that the focus wasn't quite the same when I was in auto mode as when I was in the P mode and set it to infinity. I may be wrong, but I'm going to test that out a little bit more and see if it really does make a difference. So I think in future I'll just take a whole bunch of shots, maybe some comparisons side by side. I mentioned in an earlier video, actually I did a really short video about putting leatherette on the back of the camera. Just a quick note that there's at least one place, and I'll put a link in the description, that is already selling the leatherette pieces. Actually, there's a photo store in the UK that somebody mentioned in a comment on one of my videos that will sell you a complete kit of the front and back pieces to recover your camera in a whole rainbow of colors, including black. So I still predict that at some point in the not too distant future, Pentax is going to be shipping out the rear leatherette pieces, at least to those who bought this camera without the covering attached, and that future versions of this camera, if they do nothing else, will ship with leatherette on the back. I still can't figure out why they did what they did, but there you go. That is about it. So I'm looking forward to taking this camera with me in about a week, actually less than a week, going up to Seattle to do the Seattle to Portland ride. It's a 200-mile ride that I'll be doing over the course of 2 days. I've done it as a one-day ride in the past. I'm going to do it in 2 days this time. And I'm looking forward to taking this camera and just having the flexibility and the freedom of taking a whole bunch of shots. I plan to put some black and white film in here, which I have right now, and I'm not sure if you can see it, but I have a yellow filter on here. I've had great results with that. The film that's in here right now is Ilford FP4, and I've just got great results with that. It's very fine-grained film. My only problem with it in the past is that it can be a little bit flat, but I found that the yellow filter bumps up the contrast just enough, and I get great pictures from it. I'll put some of those in the video here so you can see what they look like. So I hope you enjoyed the video, hope you enjoyed the photos. If you have any questions or comments, definitely put those down below. If you haven't done so already, I would appreciate if you'd subscribe to the channel and like the video, and we'll see you in the next one, hopefully after STP. All right, bye.